Peace, fulfillment, and freedom are the three themes I've been following so far in this story. As said before, they're central to the average human's experience. To have one and desire one is to desire the other. Peace comes when humans have the freedom to be fulfilled. Fulfillment comes when a human possesses freedom, embodies fulfillment, and peace. Nobody likes to struggle or to be told no. Nobody seeks a hellish existence by choice. In the end, human goals are best said by Dio Brando of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure series. Everything humans do is done to achieve peace of mind, and the things that bring peace of mind are peace, freedom, and fulfillment. Humans spend their whole lives attempting to achieve peace of mind and maintain it, and those who can never find it or maintain it, those are the people who are thrust into the position to decide how to rectify it, to find peace of mind in protecting others, or to find peace of mind in protecting yourself, and the methods with which you use to do either. That defines a hero or a villain. Join me, my friends. Today we pass through the Doors of Guf and witness a world where everything collides and those who have peace, freedom, and fulfillment face those who have not. Welcome back to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Faces were being stuffed. In Central Dogma's cafeteria, Goku, Vegeta, Luffy, and Naruto were pigging out, all while Sasuke sat to the side eating slowly. Shinji stood there holding only his wrapped bento. He was apprehensive at first, but Misato had believed it would be better for him to get to know them. After all, they had all been through something rather traumatic together, and trauma always served as a glue that held people together. The harder the times, the harder we clung to people who helped us survive them. It brought peace of mind. But as he stood there, he was unsure of whether or not he should actually sit down. Sasuke bid him to sit beside him, and Shinji agreed. "So you're the one who killed that large creature?" Sasuke asked. Yes. Such a short response. Short and unsure. But no response could ever capture Shinji more than that. Sasuke looked at the many people around them, all seeming to range from early 20s to mid-30s, possibly 40s. "Aren't you a bit young to be fighting like that?" Shinji shook his head. "I pilot the Eva because I'm one of the few people who can. Except for Ray and Asuka." "There are others like you?" Goku exclaimed in surprise. "Are they as strong as you?" Shinji shook his head. "I'm not strong, Mr. San." Goku cocked his head a little before swallowing. "Not from what I saw. You effortlessly broke through that angel's defenses and killed it when we couldn't do it."
"No, I agree, Kakarot. He doesn't seem that strong. It's obviously a gimmick. There's a secret to it. That shield, how did you break through it?"
Shinji thought for a moment. "It seemed simple. I just matched my AT field to the angel and then eroded it." Luffy was stuffing his face. He could hardly pay attention at all. All this talk of Evas and AT fields was way over his head. "What is an AT field?" Sasuke asked. "It's a psychic barrier formed by angels. Its frequency is different from angel to angel, but if matched, one can break through." "Does it work like ki?" Goku asked. Shinji thought about it. "I don't know. Maybe? Chi is supposed to be a mythical energy inside all living things. So, perhaps?" Vegeta scoffed.
"Doesn't matter anymore. We're going back to our world as soon as we can. There we can find a real challenge based in strength, not gimmick."
It was as if the moment he said that, the room blacked out and a red light came on. A siren began to wail through the cafeteria. Slowly, each group began to get up and leave. Shinji received a notification on his phone that he had to report to the Eva Pen for deployment. His face turned pale. Sasuke noticed. "What's happening?" Shinji looked up. "Unidentified flying object has entered the airspace of Tokyo 3. I've been requested to report for duty."
"Oh, should we help?"
Naruto asked. Sasuke shook his head. "I don't think the commander of Nerve wishes for that." Naruto seemed upset by this, but he did realize that this wasn't his world, and he had no right to force anyone to do anything different.
"Surely we can go watch, though?"
Naruto asked. Shinji nodded. I'll talk to Miss Misato about getting you clearance, but for now I have to report for duty." The 5 of them were brought into Central Dogma's war room. Goku was amazed by the ingenuity of humanity. "Bulma would love this place," he shouted. Vegeta said nothing, but he did look around. He didn't wish to admit it, but the place was impressive. But there was a subtle darkness he felt. It reminded him too much of his time in the Frieza Force. Luffy was zipping around with his stretchy limbs. All the while, Gendo Ikari's brow twitched in annoyance, trying to ignore the group entirely. "What's the status of this object?" he asked. Hugo below was typing up a storm on his computer. "It's entered the vicinity of Tokyo 3. Cameras are picking it up now." Suddenly, the screen flashed to life to show a floating object not too unlike a diamond hovering in the sky. Hyuga continued. Blood pattern analysis has turned up blue. Confirmation, it's an angel. Go to alert status 1, Commander Ikari said. Be prepared to launch Evangelion Unit 1. Yes, sir. They continued typing, setting up the path the turbo lift would take to bring the EVA up. Shinji's camera popped up on the side of the screen. Misato began to speak. Shinji, are you ready for this? Shinji seemed nervous, but all the same, he gave off a smile and a thumbs up. I'm ready, Captain Katsuragi. Misato turned to the others. Deploy Unit 1. They activated the turbo lift. As it shot up, a new reading was detected from the angel. Whoa, energy spike, Hyuga said. Misato came to the computer and looked at it. Dr. Ritsuko Akagi looked at it from her terminal. Particle beam weaponry, she shouted. Misato looked up at the screen. Shinji, take cover. As soon as the lift rose to the surface, Shinji received the command. What? Suddenly, a building was completely melted as a beam of pure invisible light struck the chest of the EVA unit. Shinji cried out in agony, the nerve connections of the EVA not having had time to be cut. Naruto stood there, his mouth wide open in awe. Such a thing could have and would have destroyed Konoha if it had been present in his world. Misato began issuing commands, and suddenly a cover plate rose up from the ground to protect the Evangelion. Misato commanded that the lift be lowered. It took some time due to the fact that the railing had begun to melt, but thankfully the track was still soft enough to lower down. Misato walked back to the monitor. Shinji, status. There was no response. Shinji, what's your status? Once again, no response. Misato commanded that the inner plug camera be activated. As the video feedback began to play on the screen, it was obvious that Shinji was unconscious. Life signs negative. No pulse or respiratory signs detected. Paramedics on standby at docking bay 01. Misato turned back. Begin heart massage. Hyuga nodded. The plug suit began to send electrical discharge into his chest in an attempt to restart his heart. The plug was manually ejected by the Amagi computers. The LCL within the plug flooded out onto the floor as the pod opened. Shinji was pulled out by paramedics who checked him over. Pulse and respiration have returned, but he's still weak. He's still in critical condition. He needs an ER now. Misato commanded that he be loaded up and taken to Nerve HQ's medical wing. Naruto watched as they carted Shinji off from the control room, and all he could do was think about Boruto. Boruto was just a few years shy of Shinji's age. Naruto felt as if he were watching his own son being carted off. It was hard to watch. Naruto looked up at Gendo Ikari, whose expression hadn't changed. What is the status of the fifth angel? He asked. Analysts were gathering information. The angel has stopped over the center of Tokyo 3 and has deployed a diamond-headed drill. It's begun the process of digging up the geofront. Gendo stood. Keep me updated. He began to walk out. Fuyutsuki looked to him. What are your orders, Commander? Gendo looked back. Have Asuka and Rei prepared to take Shinji's place. Operational command is transferred to Captain Katsuragi. He then left. Captain Katsuragi and Dr. Akagi began to confer with one another on possible plans. Naruto walked through the hospital, finding the room for Shinji. He took a peek in and noticed that nobody was there. He would open the door and step through. He would walk to the strange metallic machine encasing Shinji. He looked in to see him comatose. Naruto would pull up a seat and sit down. He looked around, wondering where the boy's father was. Naruto was surprised that Gendo was nowhere to be seen. Frankly, he couldn't be upset at Commander Ikari. After all, Naruto knew what it was to be a leader. You couldn't always be where you wanted to be, especially in situations like this. Commander Ikari likely had to prioritize the defeat of the angel over visiting his son, where he could do nothing to help him heal. But that didn't seem to stop Naruto from being close by. He knew that the boy couldn't hear him through that box, and with his eyes closed, he couldn't see him either. But he hoped that, in some capacity, his presence might offer some comfort. It was then that the door behind him opened. He looked back, half expecting to see Captain Katsuragi or the commander, but instead, he saw Vegeta. Vegeta seemed a little startled at Naruto's presence, but all the same, he did not leave. He walked over to the box, arms crossed, and looked down into it. How is he? He asked bluntly. I think he'll be fine, Naruto said. He's a fighter. Vegeta scoffed. He's weak. Naruto looked over. He's survived a lot. He's fought beings we can't destroy on our own, and took a point-blank shot that would kill any other human. That seems pretty strong to me. Vegeta shook his head. I don't mean in the physical sense. Physically, he's earned my respect. But the way he carries himself is disgusting to me. For someone with so much power, he lacks even a shred of pride. Naruto sat there and wanted to say something to the cruel Saiyan, but a certain glint in Vegeta's eye caught him off guard. Why did you come here, Prince Vegeta? Vegeta looked up. I may hate the way he treats himself, but he's earned my respect. Naruto sat there for a moment. Do you have any children, Vegeta? Vegeta sat there for a moment. I have two, Trunks and Bulla. Trunk? Naruto was about to contest the naming conventions and then remembered that he was named after a fish cake. He let it go. I suppose the sight awakened paternal instincts in you as well then. Vegeta looked down into the box. I've seen this sight too many times. My own son, Trunks, is a warrior like me. And while his strength mentally can lack, his determination and physical strength never fails. This boy reminds you of your son? Vegeta nodded. When that blast began melting the chest plate of that metal monstrosity, it reminded me of a scene I hated remembering very much. A few years ago, in my world, we were forced to face a threat from the future. Perfect Cell. Through sacrifice, we believed we'd won, but the monster came back out of nowhere and shot a blast straight through my son's heart. I watched him hit the ground and writhe before expiring. I'm sorry for your loss, Naruto said. Vegeta looked back. Don't think he remains dead. He was revived with the power of my world's Dragon Balls. Naruto had no clue what he was talking about, but somehow, apparently, the boy did not perish, and so he simply left it at that. Vegeta looked down once more. We're going to kill that angel. Naruto looked over. But we've been ordered to stay away. Vegeta scoffs. That tiny man cannot give orders to the Prince of all Saiyans. I will do as I wish, and if he plans to stop me, then he better hope that he's stronger than me. Vegeta stepped out of the room. Naruto was surprised by this encounter, but returned his gaze to the comatose warrior before him. We'll protect your city in your stead. Rest up. The plan was simple. To destroy a particle beam weapon, one needed a particle beam weapon. Unit 2 and Unit 0 would take a sniper's position at a distance and fire a charged energy bolt just outside the creature's detection range. Anything within that range would be attacked, and everything outside of that range was ignored unless it fired first upon the angel. At this time, all of Japan's energy was being funneled into the weapon. It was decided that Asuka Soryu Langley, the pilot of Unit 2, would be the one to take the sniper position due to her higher synchronization rate, while Rei utilized a shield to protect her, should her first shot miss. For safety reasons, nobody was allowed on the mountaintop with the Evangelion units, and most of on-site command was located on another nearby mountain, where they could aid if needed, but remained out of the line of fire. Captain Katsuragi kept her eyes peeled with binoculars on both EVA Unit 2 and 0, as well as Remiel, the fifth angel. She checked her watch. It was midnight. Begin Operation Yashima. Mark. Someone over the radio repeated to her, Mark. Misato began issuing commands. Begin funneling energy into the heavy particle cannon. She then contacted Asuka over the radio. The computer will do all the calculations for you. Just aim once the reticule and target hitbox are aligned. Remember your training. Aim small, miss small. I don't need you to tell me what to do. I'm not an idiot. Goku elbowed Vegeta. If I didn't know any better, I'd think she was your daughter. Vegeta's face turned red as he turned to Goku. Like I would have a daughter as annoying and disrespectful as her. I heard that, you overgrown stalagmite, Asuka called out. Where'd you get that hairdo from, a dripstone cave? Vegeta grit his teeth. She better be pretty damn good, because if she's not, I'll show her why pride and respect exist in a hierarchy of power. First circuit status, green, Hyuga called over the radio. Second and third circuit, in progress. Misato could almost see the energy sparking from these power lines. Every power station in Japan had funneled their energy right to this one place to unleash a blast that could pierce the AT field and destroy the angel. The time was now. Second and third circuit status, green, charging main gun. Misato then contacted Asuka. Load the main fuse. Asuka would then pull back on a lever in the oversized sniper, loading a fuse into it. Fuse in place. Roger, Misato acknowledged. Main gun charging has begun. Begin viewfinding procedure. Hyuga then altered them. Warning, the angel has begun charging its particle beam cannon. Asuka, how long until you can fire? Asuka was silent. She turned the radio off. Damn, I get it. Let me concentrate. She then saw the hitbox at the angel's core. She brought the reticule over it, and once it was at the center, she let off a smile and pulled the trigger. A beam was fired at the angel, but at that moment, the angel fired a beam of its own at them. The two beams overlapped, causing both to miss their target. First shot was a miss, Hyuga informed Misato. She didn't have to be told. She watched it. She cursed. Asuka, begin cooling procedures and reload the main fuse. There was still no answer, but from what Misato could tell, Asuka had begun the procedures. Remiel charged again and let loose another shot. Rei stepped in the way using Evangelion Unit 0 as a shield. She raised the blast protective shield to defend herself. The blast began eating away at the shield as Asuka attempted to fire again. She lined up and then pulled the trigger a second time, but nothing happened. What? Hyuga looked at the diagnostics. The fuse is blown, he shouted. Asuka then reactivated her radio and screamed out, Ms. Misato, the fuse is a dud! If you get us killed, I'll never forget. Radio silence as the entire mountainside was blown away. Misato cried out, Rei! Asuka! Luffy popped his knuckles. That's it. I can't stand here and do nothing. He let out a whistle as the sunny began to rise over the side of the mountaintop. He took a radio and made his way to the flying ship. Hitting the deck, he began issuing orders. Frankie, take the helm. Usopp, get on the main gun. Prepare to fire. Are you crazy? Misato argued. You'll be completely annihilated. Your vessel doesn't have the power to even break through the AT field. I can't stand around and do nothing, Luffy said. Neither can I, responded Goku. I don't think your ship can break through the AT field, but I think I can. I need a chance though. Get me as close as possible. Draw its fire. Luffy nodded. Roger. He ordered the Sunny to begin entering the Angel's airspace. The Angel witnessed this attack coming, as well as Goku flying in from another angle. It had to prioritize Luffy, as his vessel was larger and therefore a more obvious threat. It fired one blast at the Sunny, knocking it from the air, causing it to fall down into the nearby lake. It then shifted its focus to Goku, who was incoming. It fired a shot at him and he barely dodged it, causing his cyan hair to get singed. Vegeta, in his Super Saiyan Blue evolved state, stood on a mountaintop and charged a final flash, all while Sasuke's perfect Susanoo, along with Naruto's help, formed Indra's arrow and fired it. The arrow struck the AT field and bounced off. Vegeta then fired his final flash, which managed to pierce the AT field entirely. However, the Angel shifted its shape to refract the blast in all directions. It took heavy damage from this attack, but its core, though now exposed, remained intact. Goku applied his Kaioken to his Super Saiyan Blue transformation for a boost of speed. Misato was shocked at how well the three groups were coordinating with each other. Luffy looked through a spyglass at the Angel and then handed it to Usopp. Its barrier's down. Do you see that red thing? Can you hit it from here? Usopp looked through the spyglass at it. Yes, I think I can hit that. He began to position the cannon. Goku flew through the air as the Angel charged a second shot to strike him with. Suddenly, a cannonball came out of nowhere and struck the Angel's core, causing a deep fissure to form in its surface. The Angel misfired, striking nothing but a barren mountain before the blast panned up into the heavens. Goku continued his approach. The Angel charged again and fired at the Sunny. Incoming! Zoro shouted. Luffy jumped from the deck and inflated himself before coating his bloated belly with armament haki. He took the blast head-on and protected his crew, but he was knocked into the lake, causing Zoro to jump in after him, knowing he couldn't swim. Goku was closing in. He was almost there. Suddenly, as he came to the surface of the Angel, he prepared to move inside and strike the core, but before he did, he sensed something back. He touched the core with his hand and felt fear. He pulled his hand back. Leave this city now and I won't kill you, he said to the Angel. It sat there for a moment in silence before suddenly it released a new AT field, stronger than before, designed to protect its core. It forced Goku out and then blasted him point blank with a particle beam shot. Goku flew back through multiple buildings before hitting the ground. Kakarot! Vegeta cried out. He began charging another final flash to fire at the Angel before he took a particle beam strike, devastating the whole mountaintop. Zoro was only just now rising above the surface of the water with an unconscious Luffy. Chopper reached out, attempting to take Luffy's hand to begin treatment of his wounds. Misato saw this. We've lost. We actually lost. Naruto and Sasuke watched from a distance, unsure if there was anything more that they could do. It was then that Kurama told Naruto to consider what this world meant to him, whether he was willing to do that to save it. Naruto considered it. I don't think we have a choice, Kurama. Naruto stepped forward. Sasuke grabbed his shoulder. What are you doing? Naruto looked back. What I have to. He stepped forward. I will use Baryon mode. However, before Naruto could activate it, there was a bright flash in the vicinity of Tokyo 3. Misato pulled out her binoculars and witnessed Goku rising to his feet again. Goku ripped the remnants of his shirt off as an unusual aura surrounded him. Suddenly, his hair flashed from black to pure silver. What's that? Goku stood there and looked at the Angel. The Angel didn't even seem to notice him at first, but when it did, it began to fire its particle beam weapon at him. Goku was gone in that moment, appearing at the top of a building. The Angel frantically began firing again. Goku then proceeded to jump from rooftop to rooftop, then back down to ground level where he dodged each blast before it came in with his mastered Ultra Instinct. As he dodged the blasts, he continued running, charging a Kamehameha in his hands. It launched a blast at him, and Goku jumped toward the Angel, sliding up its energy blast with his own Kamehameha before doing a flip and releasing a blast. The blast was released with such force that the AT field began to falter under its power. Before they knew it, the field went down and the blast struck the Angel's core, causing it to cry out with an intense angelic cacophony of agony. The core shattered, spilling out blood like LCL as the floating Angel began to fall to the ground. Goku hovered there silently in the air, his silver eyes gazing down at the broken Angel with seriousness and solemnity at having ended another life. Suddenly, a dark energy covered his body, causing Goku to cry out before he hit the ground. Misato watched from a distance. Get paramedics out here, on the double, she shouted. Asuka and Rei were both healthy despite their EVAs having been nearly totaled. Vegeta was hurt but mostly okay due to the distance from which he had taken the blast. Luffy was already treated by Chopper, who deduced that he would make a full recovery. The one most in danger was Goku, who not only had taken a blast point blank, but had shattered his limits and transcended even the domain of the gods into something beyond. Naruto and Sasuke were in relatively fine shape. All wounded were transported back to Nerve HQ to be checked out by doctors. Goku was believed to take a while to heal, but Vegeta was up and out of bed almost immediately thereafter, claiming that it would take a lot more than that to put the Prince of All Saiyans out of commission. Asuka and Rei were stable. Their EVAs seemed to take the brunt of the attack, and the distance had limited how much damage they'd taken. Thankfully, they managed to cut nerve connections when they realized they were about to suffer worse than Shinji, which led to them surviving the near destruction of their units. Dr. Akagi immediately began work on repairing the EVA units, making sure that the biological parts within were still healthy and functional, while the R&D team and engineering worked on repairing the cybernetics. But there was good news. EVA Unit 1 and its pilot were now out of care. Shinji was resting at home and told to remain on standby in case another angel attacked. Naruto and Sasuke returned to the cafeteria the day after. However, they were all alone this time, which they found to be tragic. Meals weren't as fun when you ate them alone. "Can you believe that this world is so dangerous?" Naruto asked. Sasuke nodded. "It's horrible, but it's part of this world. Remember that ours wasn't too different in the past. The Warring States period and each of the Shinobi World Wars saw the use of children as weapons and the usage of massive beasts in battle. To be honest, you remind me of Shinji a bit. 2 young children, both of whom were the only one capable of utilizing a massive monster in defense of a world they questioned that they should exist in." Naruto nodded. "Maybe that's why I feel drawn to him. I just sense that he's in a rough place in his life. I just want to help him." Sasuke finished Naruto's sentence with a smile. "I know, because that's so you, Naruto. You know where he's come from, and now you want to aid him, to help him out. You're not the only one." It was then that once again the base's alert signal was sounded. Naruto looked up. "Oh no, not again." Sasuke stood. "We should get to the control room. They may need us." They both began to make their way to the control room. Since their fight with Remiel, Nerve had taken notice of the strategic value of keeping this group of individuals around, and had decided to let them stay and help. When they walked into the room, the operations were already in progress. 2 unidentified bipedal objects are making their way toward Tokyo 3. Gendo Ikari then called down to them. "Can you get a reading on them yet?" Hyuga shook his head. "Blood pattern, orange. We cannot detect an AT field. It is unconfirmed." Commander Ikari sits there silently for a moment before speaking again. "Launch Evangelion Unit 1. Fuyutsuki looks to the commander. "But there are 2 targets. Will you send pilot Ikari in alone?" "What other choice do we have? If he's not comfortable with that, then switch control over to the dummy plug." Excuse me," Naruto called up to the commander. "Me and Sasuke were there during the fight with the 5th Angel. If you'd allow us, we'd be honored to aid Shinji and EVA Unit 1 in battle against this new threat." Commander Ikari looked down on the Hokage from his perch of the top floor of the control room. He raised his hand. "Do as you will." Naruto thanked the commander and made his way to the EVA pen where Shinji was hesitantly getting ready to board Unit 1. "Don't worry," Naruto said. "We'll be with you today." This brought a slight smile to Shinji's face. "Thank you." Shinji boarded the EVA and Sasuke and Naruto climbed upon its shoulder and held on as it ascended into Tokyo 3. As soon as they got up, they saw smoke or steam in the distance making its way through the city. "What is it?" Naruto asked. In the control room, they brought up a feed. "Visuals confirmed." Ikari looked closely at the 2 creatures depicted. One was very large, about the size of an Evangelion unit. The other was a bit smaller, coming up to maybe a fraction of the size. Hyuga continued to analyze them. "Still blood pattern orange. No AT field detected. They don't even have a visible core." Dr. Akagi stood there and looked at them. Both were very human-like, with one even possessing a sharp jawline and hair, along with a football lineman's physique. The other one, far taller, also appeared fairly human, though not in the sense most would view it as. It possessed no skin covering its musculature or skeletal structure. "Sir, I don't believe these to be angels," she said to Commander Ikari. "Shinji, the status of these beings cannot be determined. Proceed with caution." "Yes, father," he said over the radio. EVA Unit 1 revealed its rifle. He saw them coming. They were unlike anything he'd ever seen before. It looked like no angel he'd ever seen, nor did it look like whatever was under the EVA unit's armor. It appeared human. He looked down and saw the smaller one. Looking to his shoulders, he began to wonder if it were possible that what he was looking at were strangely powered people from another world, like Naruto and Sasuke. He decided to activate his unit's speaker system. Naruto and Sasuke covered their ears. Shinji spoke. "If you can understand what I'm saying, then halt your movements." The 2 creatures stopped before them. Shinji was surprised. so they can understand us, he thought to himself. He then issued another command. If you can speak, then communicate your purpose for entering Tokyo 3.
Shinji, just fire, Commander Ikari ordered.
No, sir, I can't. They appear intelligent. They don't appear to be angels. They could be friendly. It was at that point that steam began to exit the neck of the massive beast. A man's head pulled free. He possessed dark hair and pale green eyes. Excuse me, but do you know where we are? He called out to them. Shinji lowered his rifle. The two people were brought into Nerve HQ for interrogation. It was established that the taller one was named Bertolt Hoover and the smaller one was named Reiner Braun. Are you classified as angels? Misato asked. Bertolt and Reiner looked at each other. We don't even know what that is, Bertolt said. We've been called devils before, but never angels, said Reiner. We're known as titans, Bertolt tacked on. Captain Katsuragi seemed to understand. More interlopers from another world. Great. You mean there are more like us? Reiner asked. Katsuragi nodded. One was blonde and the other's dark-haired. Blonde, Reiner asked. Does he wear glasses? Katsuragi shook her head. No, he wears a cape that says 7th Hokage on the back. What brings you here? Misato asked. We're searching for a friend of ours. His name is Zeke Yeager, and we have evidence that he might have come through here. Misato shook her head. There's no record of a Zeke Yeager coming through here. If there were, I would have heard about it. The two seemed disappointed. Misato looked at them. I assume you both came from another world, so I'll say it like this. We are currently attempting to figure out how to get another 3 groups of people just like you back to their own world, and we expect you to return to your world as well, but until then, you may stay here. Elsewhere, Gendo Ikari stood there in the darkness of his office as 2 shadows stood nearby. This is an increasing problem, one said. The shadow possessed orange hair and a dark cloak. His eyes had spiraling rings moving up from the center. Ever since the doors of Guf were opened, more people are coming through. Gendo nodded. Trust me, your concerns are mirrored, Lord Pain, but I do not think it'll be a problem for much longer. You don't think so, another voice said. 2 devils like me have just come through your portals. This could complicate human instrumentality quite a bit, Commander. The man stepped into the light. Gendo looked to him. He was young, couldn't have been more than 19 years old, no more than 5 years older than Shinji. And yet, he possessed knowledge, wisdom, and cunning on par with a grown adult, such as Gendo himself. Follow me, Lord Yeager, he said. Eren and Pain followed Gendo into an elevator that began to lead them down. Gendo swiped his ID card and chose a secret option. The elevator continued descending for what seemed like at least a half hour, until eventually it stopped, the floor number simply reading TD. The door opened and Gendo stepped out of the elevator. This is the lowest point of the base, he said. This is Terminal Dogma. He led them forward to find a massive creature crucified, a spear bulging from its chest. This is the planetary seed code named Lilith. It's the source of Nerve's technology and the key to the 3rd impact, human instrumentality. Eren, a 4th voice chimed in. Eren looked over to see Zeke Yeager chained before the creature. Eren, what is this? He attempted to say, though his jaws were bound to keep him from biting his own tongue. They could not risk allowing the Beast Titan to be released in this space near Lilith, but they couldn't risk having him locked away anywhere else. Eren paid him no mind. Gendo pointed to him and then spoke to Eren. The other half of your required duo is already present. Now all we require is Adam. When Adam arrives, we can force a merger between him and Lilith, between you and Zeke, and finally between angels and titans. With this power, you can initiate the 3rd impact and human instrumentality. You can access the anti-universe and the Golgotha object. Then the multiverse will be whatever you decide it to be. Eren looked at Gendo. Yes, I will have my freedom, and Pain will have his peace, and you will have your fulfillment. But the question is, how will you get Adam here? Gendo smiled, with a little ingenuity. You see, it just so happened that the fuse on the particle cannon was blown. Because of that, EVA Unit 0 and 2 were destroyed. As we speak, another EVA unit is on its way here from America, and with it will come the 5th child, Kaworu Nagisa, the vessel for Adam. He's Seal's lapdog. Surely he'll attempt to initiate 3rd impact on his own by searching for his former vessel. Gendo displayed a very small embryo in a case that possessed a tag that said First Angel Adam on it. Nagisa will be led to believe Adam is down here, and when he eventually betrays us and attempts to break into Terminal Dogma, you will spring your trap and devour him, taking the spirit of Adam within yourself. Finally, we'll merge Zeke Yeager with Lilith, and then, when you two touch and form the founding titan, you will possess the power to do as you desire. Pain looked to Gendo Ikari. You truly have thought this out. Gendo smiled and pushed his glasses up his nose. I am nothing if not meticulous. This is the hope of our greatest desires.
To not show it proper attention would invite failure.
Eren nodded.
Just be sure that those you're now harboring do not get in the way, or we will have to kill them.
Gendo nodded.
Very few people even know of Terminal Dogma, let alone how to access it. I don't think anyone with basic clearance will ever learn of it.
You would better make sure that's so, Pain said, because if our plans fail to come to fruition due to your failures,
I will ensure that you witness a new world of pain.
And I think I'll call it there for the day. What did you think of this video? I'm going to be absolutely honest with you, I am having a blast writing this. Now, of course, I understand that some of the scaling doesn't entirely make sense, such as how Super Saiyan Blue Goku can't just tank an angel that's probably no more than mountain level, but there's a certain power scale that needs to be balanced to make the story interesting. If we really relegate the story to that old meme, but can he beat Goku, then the story wouldn't be much fun. I'm hoping I'm doing justice to all of the characters as well as crafting a riveting story that's keeping you all entertained. If I am, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and also be sure to tell me things you think could improve for the next part. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications for when new content like this drops. And until next time, peace.